Oh, good. Okay. So a lot of the topic here, it's like, how do you show options? It's based on how you fill out the financial inventory and you find out what they're actually looking for. And, you know, my objective, I like Sean Mike's approach where, like, make people feel like idiots, right? Yes, you ask, like, obvious questions. So that's the kind of the approach I've taken. I like how when you find the need in the financial inventory, there's a lot of logic behind what you're showing them. So I'm going to give you like 2 examples. There's a million and one things. A lot of the way that I help clients is it's very conversational. So I don't meet two people the same. So every situation is a little bit different. I don't have like this script that I follow. I'm very unscripted. So I'm going to give you 2 examples of, like, so I sell America first if they're healthy. So obviously we're going to look at a 59-year-old. Bear with my handwriting. So 59-year-old, let's see, whether they want, say they want $25,000, right? Because I ask people what they want. I don't get into these crazy, like, backwards. I don't dig deep into their finances. I ask people what they want. They tell me, and I help them. I don't really question a whole lot. But let's just compare the 2, because a lot of you guys would probably go in, say they want final expense coverage, right? You probably go in and want to sell them an Eagle product, which I love, but I'm going to show you a different example. So I'm a big believer in the CBO 100 because I think it's the best product out there. Okay, so say they want $25,000. So you got $25,000 on each. I've already ran the quote, so I didn't have to waste y'all's time. So for Eagle, you'd be looking, and this is South Carolina, 59-year-old male and non-smoker. Okay, so you'd be looking for, it'd be 118.68, and CBO 100 would be 117.19. Now this is a 20-year, okay? So he would be what, 79 years old? Okay, this is whole life, so obviously lasts your whole life. Okay, here's the main difference, right? This is going to expire in 20 years, and it's going to give the client $28,000 back. Okay, $28,000. He doesn't have to pay for it after 79. This one, he's going to keep paying till he dies. Okay, they're both going to give you 25 if you die. This one has the living benefits, has the cancer, heart attack, stroke, disability over 90 days. This one has the terminal illness rider. Now you can find all these forms in the, I go to FFL America, but they have like the benefit sheet. Which one do you think is harder to replace? They've got emotion attached to that right there. The $28,000 is all emotion, right? So I sell it logic based, okay? When I present these, I don't just tell them it's $117. I have them write this out. Okay, first of all, here's what you're gonna do, right? Because you plan on living, right? We all plan on, nobody thinks we're gonna die anytime soon. Like, whatever the objections people say it before they say it. Most everyone's arrogant. They don't think they're dying tomorrow, right? Some people, you know, go through tragedies and feel differently, but most people think they're living forever, right? Okay, so they might wanna procrastinate with this one and wait, right? This one, go ahead and get it started. Let's go ahead and get your money back sooner, right? Also, you can go up to $450. So if they have a mortgage or anything more valuable, you can go up in price. I always start at the top. I quote high and come down. But one cool thing, when you have them write this down, right, this is what we're targeting, right? Like, worst case scenario, you die, okay, $25,000, which is what you originally wanted, okay? Second worst case, you have a heart attack, stroke, or cancer. That could be next week. You could have a heart attack next week. You're gonna get paid $25,000, right? This one, you gotta keep paying for it. Sorry for all my drawing. This one you got to keep paying, right? You don't get it. You got to die, okay? So right there, this one, the CBO already crushes that policy, okay? Now, 79 years old, a lot of people live to 79, right? My granddad's 80. So a lot of people live to 79. Rather than keeping paying it, now you have $28,000. You can take your $28,000, do whatever you want, but now you have your final expense coverage taken care of. It's like a no-brainer, right? So I sell it like it's a no-brainer. Nobody questions me because I tell them it makes sense, right? Like, hey, look, we have 30 companies. I'm going to show you the best one, right? We're going to start there because that's what I sell. I don't sell on price. Like, I don't walk in a house. I don't ask people, do you want, how much you want to pay? Like, I sell you what you need. And you discover that early on in the financial inventory, which isn't what I'm talking about here. But But so many people would walk into a house of a 59-year-old that says they want final expense coverage, $25,000, 10. Obviously, 25 is the minimum there, right? But $117 a month, and you can literally get $25,000 next week if you had a heart attack. Like, where can you get that? You can't get it off the, I don't know if I can say company names, but there's companies out there that offer it that has to be used for that critical illness or chronic illness, right? Whereas this is cash in your pocket, tax-free. Like, it makes so much sense. You have to make people feel like an idiot to not, like, who wouldn't buy? Y'all probably all want to buy one right now. We'll go sign you up after this. Right? So that's how I present that. As far as overcoming objections and business or banking account info, like, I group it with the driver's license, right? Like, I just tell them straight up, hey, I'm going to need a valid account and routing number and your driver's license information. What's your driver's license number? I ask for that right away. And then they get your driver's license number. And then, okay, go ahead and give me the bank account information. I can get the routing number. Which bank is it? And I Google it. Wells Fargo, South Carolina routing number. All right, hey, is it the 053-94726? Yep, that's it. Okay, what's the account number? Again, like, it's so assumption-based. If you walk in here with no confidence and you're doubting and you think, like, that nobody ever, I don't get somebody that says they don't want to give me their banking because they trust me, right? So if they say no on the banking, they don't trust you, or you haven't built enough value. It's not that complicated. So you get here by running enough appointments and enough scenarios. And when you fill out this ain't a financial inventory, but when you fill out a financial inventory and you actually dig into people's, like, situations, like, I'm not as emotion-based, but I dig into their situation. What's it look like, right? Where they're working, where their family lives. Are they gonna have to fly in and out? Like, a lot, they talked about this stuff. Like, that stuff's really important. Income replacement, right? And the last thing would be, as far as getting into this, so how you would decide, obviously, like, if you believe that they would get qualified for it, I always start with Americo. So I'm in the prescription check or the initiate underwriting. They have no idea what I'm even doing. I use Americo's prescription guide as literally a guide, right? If it says I can move forward, I don't talk about any of this. I answer the questions on the actual financial inventory, and I'm in the Americo e-app of the one I think they can qualify for. If it says you can move forward, I'm done with the e-app. I get all the way to doctor's information. I'm literally down to the payer screen before I go back and talk about any of that. They don't know any of this. I'm literally done. So I explain this, settle on this, see why that's valuable, makes so much sense, whatever. And then I ask them for the bank account and the driver's license number, and I close the e-app and leave. That's it. Like, it's literally, I don't do this at the beginning. I do it at the very end. So, sorry.
Real quick, Mark, if you can talk about how to overcome think about it when you do get it.
Yeah, so see, that's the thing. Like, I don't really get that. I guess if someone said that they don't want to do it today, it's like, obviously we don't know what's going to happen to us tomorrow. I think when you have a death claim, and which I've had, and you guys will have if you run enough appointments, right? You start to you start to take this more serious. Before a death claim, at least for me, I didn't, like, it was just a job, right? It was just like going to another house, right? But when you start to look at them as, like Jamie says, like, your grandparents, your friends, your brothers, your parents, I don't think that you think about it. Like, I don't get it because, again, they filled out the form, they answered the phone, I scheduled an appointment, I'm in their house, I'm at their kitchen table, we're talking about insurance. Like, why? What is there to think? They've already thought about it. They thought about it when they filled out the form. They thought about it when they let me in their house. They thought about it. Like, they thought about it. They've already thought about it. So, hey, I'm sure you want to think about it. We're going to go ahead and submit the request in 24, 48 hours. We'll see if it's approved. If it's approved, you have 30 days. You can adjust the policy. That's probably how I would overcome think about it. But I think at the end of the day, it's like, it's a no-brainer. When you provide this, nobody's going to think about that. It accomplished everything that they wanted, right? Or they weren't serious to begin with. And that's when you can kind of go back and dig through the emotion.
Okay, so guys, I want to talk to you real quick about closing when you're in the home. A lot of people think that closing is just that, when you get there and you're at the very end of it. I close at the very beginning when I get on the phone with them. And here's what I mean by that. By the time I get to the home, I've already got the application halfway done. Because on the phone, I'm already asking, is there any major health issues with your heart, cancer, diabetes? I don't need to know the name of the medications because I don't know that stuff, okay? I just want to know if there's any major stuff going on. If they've got cancer right now, I'm sure that if you've been doing this long enough, you've had somebody that says, yeah, I got HIV. Well, you know exactly if they got HIV, it's got to be a guaranteed product. And you know that going in, right? Okay. So if it's one of those where you're not sure or you think they're going to be Americo, this is what I've always been taught. We're going to write Americo first, okay? Always go with Americo first. The reason I like to go with Americo first is because after you put in their contact information, their social, their address, their email, their phone number, stuff like that, Americo will actually tell you if they're pre-qualified or not. Now, here's what I say to them. I said, yeah, we're going to put all your information in. I said, and literally within 1 minute after we put it in, Americo is going to let us know where you qualify. I'm not going to say that Americo told them that they did not qualify. What I'm going to say is this. Oh, Americo says that you're pre-qualified, so we're going to continue because, you know, it gives you that little message. But if it doesn't, it says no. I never say, well, they declined you. I don't say that. I'll say, oh, Americo says that you're going to get coverage, but we've got to go to the sister company. Okay? So I keep it very positive with them, and then I move on over. I'll also tell them this. We're going to look at a couple of different things. Now, depending on how well the MIB comes back, you know, on your health report, is going to determine basically what you're going to have to pay for the coverage that you want. And so I'm going to give you the best case scenario. I'm going to give you the worst case scenario. And then I just go ahead and spell it out. I'll give them the price of a guaranteed product up front, which is way more, and then I'll give them the price of the one that's a little bit cheaper. And I'll say, now listen, if you want to keep the same price, but you have to go the guaranteed we can do that. It's just going to be a little bit less coverage. I said, but I'm going to fight for you. And I tell them, I'm going to fight for you to get you this one right here, and let's just see what the system says. So then we go through it, and you know, if they end up qualifying for the Americo product, then boom, there it is. And what a great company to work with, okay? If not, then I don't tell them that they were declined. I just say, okay, well, Americo says that you've got to go to the sister company, and here's where we're going. And then I just continue. Now, here's another thing that I do. When I get ready to close, now I've already talked to these people on the phone. Now think about it. They filled out a form that they want information on life insurance, right? You called them. They picked up the phone. They let you set an appointment with them. You came to their home. They invited you in the home, right? You're sitting there. You've got once that computer's open, it's a 95% chance you're going to write a policy with them unless you're just an idiot. Okay? If you don't write it at that point, it's on you. It's not on them. Okay? Because they've given you all the signs that they are ready. Okay? Now, one thing I do, if it's a husband and a wife, I want them both there, okay, for that decision. And then I am going to get to the why, and I want them to tell me that why. And I'm even going to ask them and say, how'd y'all meet? You know, and maybe they'll tell me. Sometimes if they're older, they'll tell me a love story that's unbelievable. I'll sit there and I'll just be in amazement of a couple that's been together for 55 years or whatever, and how they met back, you know, at the end of the war or whatever. You know, he was served. I've had that happen. I've met people like that. So what I do when I'm taking the application and I finally get down to the very last part, which is bank account information, before I just blurt it out, hey, I need your account number and your routing number, before I do that, right when I get to it, I'll go back to their why. So now this is incredible that you want to do this and make sure that your wife is taken care of. You know, I wish more men would do this for their wives. And then I talk to them a little bit more. Now, how did y'all meet or whatever? And then it gets real emotional. And then I'll just go right on into it and say, you know, I need 2 more things from you. And it looks like you're going to get this coverage today. And they usually say, well, what is that? I say, I'm going to need 1 more signature from you, and I need your account number and your routing number with your checking account. And then I look down, and I don't say a word. And I just keep on the computer. And usually they get up and they go get their checkbook. Or they get in their phone, like a lot of people on their phone now, they've got their bank account information. But the next person that speaks is going to be the one that loses. So I'm not going to say a word. I don't care. I've sat in somebody's home for 5 minutes. It gets kind of awkward and uncomfortable, you know. And I've had them actually say, I don't think so, not this time. And I just still stay quiet for another 2 or 3 minutes. And then I'll look and say, oh, so what do you think? And they'll say, oh, okay, yeah, let's do it. At that point, I think they're just ready for me to leave, but it doesn't matter. You know, I'm going to make sure that I'm doing my part to get them covered. Okay?